Salvation International Preparatory School. Salvation International Preparatory School. A place to be, a school to go. We'll build you up from the cradle to university. Salvation International Preparatory School. Salvation International Preparatory School. A place to be, a school to go. We'll build you up from the cradle to university.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome to another of our biology class. And this morning, we are going to be looking at the word cell. Everybody say cell.
Cell.
Say cell.
Cell.
Now, the question will be, why are we considering the cell and what's the importance of considering the cell? So first, we'll start by defining what the cell is. We simply say the cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Can you repeat after me? What's the cell, number one?
The cell is the structural and functional unit of life.
So when you are being asked to define the cell, we simply say that the cell is the structural and the functional unit of what? Life. Now let's take our emphasis to the cell theory. Now, since we've defined the cell to be the structural and functional unit of life, we have the cell theory. And number one of the cell theory says that the cell is the structural and functional unit of life. That's the first one, functional unit of life. Now, number two says that all organisms are made up of a cell. Can you repeat number two?
All organisms are made up of a cell.
One more time.
All organisms are made up of a cell.
Now, number three says that an organism can be unicellular. So, if I don't want to use the word unicellular, I will say acellular or multicellular. So, can you repeat number three?
All organisms can be unicellular, acellular, or multicellular.
Now, repeat that again.
All organisms can be unicellular, acellular, or multicellular.
Now, number four says that there is no life apart from that of a cell. Repeat that again.
There is no life apart from that of a cell.
One more time.
There is no life apart from that of a cell.
And number five says that all cells comes from a pre-existing one. All cells come from a pre-existing one. Can you repeat that?
All cells come from a pre-existing one.
So class, let's define a cell. What is a cell? The cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Now, from the cell theory, what's the first cell theory?
The cell is the structural and functional unit of life.
Number two.
All organisms are made up of a cell.
Number three.
All organisms can be unicellular, acellular, or multicellular.
Number four.
There is no life apart from that of a cell.
And number five.
All cells come from a pre-existing one.
Very good. Now we're going to take our emphasis next to the cell theory. We are going to look at the cell theory, which will be our next emphasis. Now, when we say the cell theory, what are we trying to look out for? We are trying to see the contributions of various scientists to the cell. Now, number one is who we call Robert Hooke. Class, repeat after me.
Robert Hooke.
One more time.
Robert Hooke.
Now, Robert Hooke, in the year 1665, he was an English scientist. Now, class, who is the first scientist that contributed to the cell theory?
Robert Hooke.
In what year?
1665.
Who was he?
An English scientist.
Now, let's look at Robert Hooke's contribution. It was Robert Hooke who discovered the thin slice of an oak tree. You can also say the honeycomb of an oak tree. And he discovered that these thin slices of an oak tree were made up of little compartments. Were made up of what?
Little compartments.
Were made up of what?
Little compartments.
And he called those little compartments cell. So class, who is the father of the cell theory?
Robert Hooke.
What year?
1665.
Who was Robert Hooke?
An English scientist.
What did he discover? He discovered the thin slice of an oak tree. Now, so we can also say and also something very important. He wrote a book called the Micrographia. What was the name of the book he wrote?
Micrographia.
What was the name of the book he wrote?
Micrographia.
Good. Number 2, we look at a scientist called Félix Dujardin. Repeat after me.
Félix Dujardin.
Now, in the year 1835, he was a French biologist. Who is the second scientist?
Félix Dujardin.
What year?
1835.
Who was he?
A French biologist.
Now, it was Félix Dujardin that discovered what was called the protoplasm of the cell. The word protoplasm simply means the cytoplasm plus the what? The nucleus. What does the word protoplasm mean?
Cytoplasm and nucleus.
Can somebody define the cytoplasm for me? Yes?
Cytoplasm is any living material apart from that nucleus that is bounded by a cytoplasm.
Let's clap for her. That's very good. Another definition. Okay, let me have cytoplasm.
Cytoplasm can be defined as all living material outside of the nucleus bounded by the cytoplasm membrane.
Cytoplasm to mean any living materials outside of the nucleus bounded by a cytoplasmic what? Membrane. Now, but this man's work was discredited by 2 scientists called von Moll and Henry Pockinjel. Now, I said that Félix Dujardin's contribution called the protoplasm was discredited by 2 scientists by the name ever pronounced von Moll, Henry Pockinjel. In the year 1839 and 1846 respectively. They said it should not be called protoplasm, rather it should be called sarcode. Everybody say sarcode. Everybody say sarcode. Now, we have the next scientist. We are looking at the next scientist called, number 3 is called Matthias Kledi. Everybody pronounce after me, Matthias Kledi. Matthias Kledi. In the year 1838. Everybody, 1838. He was a German botanist. Class, when we say someone is a botanist, anybody who is a botanist? Yes. Yes.
A botanist is someone that studies plants and flowers.
Thank you very much. Let's give you a clap. Good. Now, Matthias Kledi in the year 1838 was a German botanist, and he discovered that the body of plants were made up of what? A cell. Now, number 4th scientist is called Theodor Schwamm. Pronounce after me.
Theodor Schwamm.
One more time.
Theodor Schwamm.
In the year 1839. What year?
1839.
He was a German zoologist. Now, what was his contribution? Very simple. He said that the body of animals are made up of what? A cell. Sir, what is the 4th scientist? You know what the 4th scientist?
Theodor Schwamm.
What year?
1839.
Who was he?
German zoologist.
What was his contribution? He said that the body of animals are made up of a cell. Now, the 5th scientist is called Rudolf von Virchow. Pronounce after me.
Rudolf von Virchow.
One more time.
Rudolf von Virchow.
In the year 1855. What year?
1855.
Now, he said that all cells come from a pre-existing one. What did I just say?
All cells come from a pre-existing one.
So, class, who is the father of the cell theory?
Robert Hooke.
What year?
1665.
Who was he?
An English scientist.
He wrote a book called Dash.
Micrographia.
Now, what did he discover?
Tiny size of oak tree.
Who was the next scientist?
Félix Dujardin.
What year?
1835.
Who was he?
French biologist.
Now, what did he discover?
Protoplasm.
The protoplasm is made up of 2 things. Number 1,
Cytoplasm and nucleus.
when we say cytoplasm, what do we mean by cytoplasm? Cytoplasm means all living materials.
Outside of the nucleus, bounded by a cytoplasmic membrane.
Now, his work was discredited by 2 scientists. Name?
Von Moll and Henry Pockinjel.
What year?
and 1846.
Rather than calling it protoplasm, what should it be called?
Sarcode.
Who was the third scientist?
Marcus
What year?
1838.
Who is the next scientist?
Theodore Schwann.
What year?
1839.
Who was he?
German zoology.
What was his contribution? The body of animals.
are made up of a cell.
Who was the fifth scientist?
Method.
What year?
1855.
What did he say? All cells are made.
made.
So class, what is the definition of a cell?
A cell is the structural and functional unit of life.
What is the number one cell theory?
All cells is the structural and functional unit of life.
One more time.
The cell is the structural and functional unit of life.
Number two, all organisms.
are made up of a cell.
Repeat that.
All organisms are made up of a cell.
Number three,
A cell can be
unicellular, acellular.
or multicellular.
Repeat that again.
A cell can be unicellular, acellular, or multicellular.
Number four,
There is no life apart from that of a cell.
one more time.
There is no life apart from that of a cell.
The last one, all cells come from a
pre-existing one.
Very good. So we're looking at what is called the cytoplasm. Since we've mentioned that the cytoplasm means all living materials outside of the nucleus bounded by a cytoplasmic what? Membrane. Now there's an acronym for the cytoplasm. It is called GEM-VLC. Pronounce after me.
GEM-VLC.
Now, the G means the Golgi bodies or apparatus. So this is the G, or what we call apparatus. Now, the E means endoplasmic reticulum. The R means ribosomes. The M means mitochondrial. The V means vacuole. The L means lysosomes. The C means centrioles. So class, what is the acronym for the cytoplasm?
GEM-VLC.
One more time.
GEM-VLC.
What does the G mean?
Golgi bodies or apparatus.
One more time.
Golgi bodies or apparatus.
What does the E mean?
Endoplasmic reticulum.
R,
Ribosomes.
M,
Mitochondria.
V,
Vacuole.
L,
Lysosomes.
C.
Centrioles.
Okay, now let's take the Golgi bodies or the Golgi apparatus. When we say the Golgi body or Golgi apparatus, please note the functions are under probability. We are not certain. So it was discovered by a man called Camillo Golgi about 100 years ago. So who discovered the Golgi body or apparatus?
Camillo Golgi.
About what?
100 years ago.
Are we certain of its function?
No.
So we might say they may help in the production. They may help. So see that we are not certain about the function. So for the Golgi bodies or Golgi apparatus, take note that we are using probability statements. They may help in the synthesis of protein. They may help in the synthesis of fat and oil. Am I communicating to you?
Yes.
Now, the E means endoplasmic reticulum. Now, when you hear them say endoplasmic reticulum, they are simply for synthesis and packaging within the cell. What are they for?
Synthesis and packaging within the
One more time. They are for synthesis and packaging within the cell. Now, ribosomes are sites for protein synthesis. They are sites for protein synthesis. Class, what are ribosomes?
site for protein synthesis.
Now, M, which means mitochondria, it is the powerhouse of the cell. What is M?
Powerhouse of the cell.
One more time.
Powerhouse of the cell.
Now, V, which is the vacuole, acts as a cell sap.
As a parent, I have always asked, how can I prepare my children for the infrastructural development and socio-economic evolution of the next decade? With the ongoing speed of globalization, how can I position my children to perform excellently in a rapidly changing society? The answer is and has always been to give them a solid foundation. Academically, spiritually and morally. Salvation International Preparatory Schools, with her team of highly qualified tutors, conducive environment for learning, state-of-the-art computer and science laboratories coupled with quality day and boarding facilities, is the place to be. For more information, contact 080-233-76135. SIPS remains the birthplace of leaders.
Salvation International Preparatory School. Salvation International Preparatory School. A place